All right, everybody. This is the other side of, or the other step, I should say, of our coffee table. Right? We already did the burning. We did the outline and the border. Right? It's not completely finished, so we're gonna finish it, do some finishing touches, and do some other things. But we're gonna do some artwork, right? And like I told you, we're going to do image transfers. Now, by saying image transfer is, see this image? We're going to take this image and we're going to transfer it over here onto this wood. So you have your drawing or your artwork, your image, then you also have your carbon paper. Okay? Basically, it's like a tattoo. Whenever a tattoo artist does your tattoo, right? Okay? You put your image on it. Now, carbon paper has to be taped down. Do it thoroughly so it doesn't shift. All right? You don't want it shifting. And then you put your artwork on top of that. You tape that on top of the carbon paper. You tape that on top of the carbon paper. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. Basically, what you're doing, all you're doing is tracing the image. Take an ink pen, take a lead pencil, whatever you prefer to use, whatever you're more comfortable with, and you use that. Okay? And this beautiful image is going to come out on the other side. It's going to transfer the image from this paper through the carbon paper and straight onto the wood. All right? So that way you have no problem with proportion. You don't have nothing like that. I mean, if you're an artistic person, obviously I get it. You can go ahead and hand draw whatever you want to do. That's an added-on step. It takes more time, and that's fine. Whatever your decision, whatever your choice, that's fine. I'm just trying to make all options known to you, okay? But this is more efficient, it's quicker, and it's easier for people that's not artistic. All right? So if you're not artistic and you're scared and you don't think you can handle it or you blah 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 blah, any of those excuses, bullshit. Throw it out the fucking window. I don't give a damn if you can't color a fucking coloring book. The point is, this right here is, these steps are to help you so you have more confidence in yourself, and you're going to learn how to do an image like this. Look at the detail in this image. All right, you got mountains, you got trees, you got bushes, you got grass, you got the ground. You got the bear, you got the shadow of the bear, and all the fur on the bear itself, and all this other shit, okay? And we're going to do all of it exactly the way it is on the image. And it's not going to take as long. I'm not saying it's not going to take long, because trust me when I tell you, even doing it this way, it's going to take a long time. You have to have patience, okay? This is one thing that I've learned through almost 30 years worth of doing this shit. You have to have patience. All right? I don't have very much patience normally. But when it comes to this shit, it's a surprise. I actually do have patience. But yeah, you can see some of the tape, okay? I taped the corners on this. For the carbon paper, you tape all four corners. And then what I did is I taped here and I taped down here on both sides. That way it keeps the carbon paper steady. Okay? You do not want no type of movement or shifting when you're trying to transfer an image. I did that one time. I made a mistake when I was younger and I was just learning this stuff, okay? And what I did was I didn't tape it enough. For instance, I put tape on each corner, right? And there was some kind of a air bubble or whatever the hell you want to call it. It was in between the rest of the image or the paper. And then I taped the other paper down and there was a bubble that happened to to happen underneath in the carbon paper, and I didn't even know it. I didn't see it. But I did all my tracing, all that work. Like, look at this image. So basically, I did all this shit right here. I took my ink pen or my pencil, and I traced every inch of it. When I pulled this stuff off, and I looked at it, okay, it had a double image on it. Okay? I screwed up. But I learned from that. So I'm trying to help you so you don't do the same damn thing. Because after you spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it takes to trace an image in, and then you start pulling this up, and you look under there and you see it's a double image, you're going to be pissed. Okay? But at the same time, if it is a double image, don't fret. Okay? You pull this up, pull your corner up a little bit at a time so you can look at what you got and you can kind of gauge your situation. But if you have, let's say you have a double image, okay? The one image is very light. It's not really heavy. It's not dark. But you have another one that is really dark. Trace that image, okay? This is my information. Trace that image, and the one that's light, don't worry about it. You can sand it down and do whatever you have to do to get rid of that, okay? Just remember, when you're working with wood, you can always sand it down, okay? It's not like a pencil and paper where you just got an eraser and it's like, blip, 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 blip. No, you have to do some work to erase some shit. So you minimize your mistakes. You try to do that. And this is why I'm trying to tell you, for instance, if I traced all this in, right? I did all this image and I was trying to transfer it in. The first thing I'm going to do after I get done with that, I'm going to take this corner right here, for instance, okay? It doesn't have to be specifically this corner. It could be that corner or that one or whatever. You take the tape off of that, and then you lift that up. You lift it up so you can see underneath of the carbon paper, which is this, okay? And you can see how well the transfer is starting to transfer. And then you just take your time. You take the tape off of this corner, this piece, this corner, and then you fold it over on one side. You still leave that, still always work from one side. I'm going to tell you that right now. That is my biggest advice to you. Take that tape, take that tape, take that tape, take this tape, and then you fold it over like it's a booklet, right? And as you fold that over, you can see how well your progress is on the transfer. Now, don't fret if you didn't transfer everything. All you have to do, since you left that whole side taped, is fold it back over, put the tape back on there, and go back over it and keep tracing it until the transfer fully transfers. Okay? I recommend, no matter what, when you're doing an image transfer like this, in this way, I recommend you do it, at least go over every line of the image twice. Do it twice, put pressure on it. Trust me when I tell you, you have to put pressure on it. Because you got to understand, you're going through the artwork paper, you're going through the carbon paper, and then you're transferring it onto wood. Okay? It's not just like you're sitting there drawing an image on a piece of paper. It's a lot more. This is a whole different concept. You have to understand that. And until you understand that, you're not going to realize it has different rules than just drawing on a piece of paper. So there's a lot more that comes into play too. As far as it goes, like for instance, look at this, okay? Where the burn marks are on this table, those are the grains of the wood, right? That's the grain. It's going this way, right? The grain's going this way, and we're going to be drawing all over those grains. So we're going to go against the grain, we're going to go with the grain, and there's going to be times where it's going to be hard because some of the stuff is going to go against the grain and it's going to be harder for you to burn it in. These are the type of tips that I'm trying to teach you. I want you to understand this because it took me years to understand this. And you're learning this within minutes. So it's well worth the tips. All right? I wish I had these tips whenever I was younger and I started, okay? So think about it this way. I've literally done this for 28 years now? Okay? 28 years. That's a long time for somebody to be doing this stuff. But anyways, I'm not by any means a professional. By any means. I will never say that. I just appreciate the art. I appreciate doing it. And I can assure you, if you do this type of stuff and you make stuff and you want to sell it or, help people out and make gifts and things like that, the feeling that you get from doing an art project like this, and when you're done, and the person that you sell it to or give it to as a gift, whatever the case, the feeling that you get from them being happy and overjoyed by some beautiful artwork that you've done, there is no comparison to it. Do it once or twice and find out. And if I'm wrong, please comment down below. Tell me I'm an asshole. I dare you. Because I know better. I've done it, like I said, for 28 years. It's been a long time I've done this. I've built my own live edge benches. I've built my own live edge coffee table. As you see, that's what we're doing today. I've done cornhole boards. I've done clocks. I've done plaques. Anything in wood, I've done it. Okay? The problem is I had a bunch of pictures that I had saved and images and things like that because I do technically have a business. But the problem is I haven't had seed money to get the business off the ground. And if you want to know, my business is called The Guild, Guild, LLC. All right. Eventually, I'm going to get this puppy off the ground, and we're going to go ahead and do some stuff. But that's neither here nor there. That's future talk. But the point is, I want you to understand this. If you're passionate about your artwork, and honestly, I'm not trying to take away from people that are artistic. If you want to hand draw your own artwork, fine, do that. That's up to you, the individual doing it, okay? If you have confidence in the skills that you have as far as an artist, then go ahead and do that. But I can assure you, 90% of people out there, if not 80%, let's just say 80% of the people out there, they do not have faith in their artistic skills, and they feel that they cannot do it. And they have no idea that they can do things like this. And this fairly easy. You understand? A lot of people don't understand that. I just want you people to understand this. I'm trying to open your minds. I'm trying to help you imagine things. Hey, if you have an image, you have this or that, blah, blah, blah. Even if it's something you find off the internet. Now, be careful. I will tell you this. The one thing I will tell you this. If you find something and it's copywritten, do not mass produce a bunch of that shit. As far as Disney, any of those, it doesn't matter. It don't have to be a big name. Do not mass produce it if it's copywritten material. Although I will say, if you're doing it for personal use, you can make an image and burn it in. Let's for instance, let's say this image is copywritten, right? Okay, it's copywritten. I cannot mass produce that image. But, however, through a small little loophole, whatever you want to call it, I can actually produce this one image if I'm giving it to somebody or if it's for my personal use. Okay? But you cannot sell it. So remember that. That is a major thing that you do not want to find. You don't want to find out what the fines cost for something like that. I assure you, they're going to be very heavy, and it's going to be something you do not want to find out about. But this is all the cautions. This is all the things I'm trying to tell you about before we get into this. And I'm sorry it's dragging on. It's taking longer than I expected and blah, blah, blah. But the point is, now you understand. This is how the process goes. All right? You take down your carbon paper. Then you take your image paper, put it on top. It's basically, it's just like a tattoo artist. And I know damn well 80 to 90% of these younger generation, if not more, I don't know, all have tattoos. So if you had a tattoo done, it's basically a tattoo you're putting on a piece of wood. Okay? So look at it that way. Now, people's going to sit there and tell me in the comments, why didn't you get tattoo paper? Which, yeah, I could have done that, but I don't have tattoo paper. I have carbon paper. So I'm going to use what I have available to me, obviously, right? Why would I go out and buy something if I have something already that works? Simple answer to a simple question. So your answer, your question is answered, if that's the question you have. Now, if you have any other questions, let us know. Tell me down below. I'm going to go ahead and start trying to work on this. I have to tape down the image paper, but I will tell you this. I'm going to definitely tell you this before we get started on doing the other shit. Okay? Here's what I did. Okay? So understand this. It's a live edge table. Okay? So it's not perfectly square, right? You see the curve in it and all that shit, right? It looks like the paper is crooked because the live edge goes crooked on you, right? The only way that I could actually try to square this off is to take it from the flat edge and measure it, right? You measure it. I measured it 7 inches. I went up here, measured it further, 7 inches to the edge of the carbon paper, right? Do this again, 7 inches. So that way I know that end is perfectly straight up and down. You have no other end that you can actually square it off of. You have one side, you measure it from that side. Whatever side is square, that's what you measure from. Okay? So that way you're not confused and thinking, oh shit. If you go and measure this, right? Let's measure this. What is it gonna be? 3.5 inches, blah, 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 yakety, yak, 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 yak. Who give a fuck? Now it's 3 3/4, okay? So it goes from 3.5 to 3 3/4. You're going to think, holy shit, this mother bitch ain't even straight. It ain't even right. No, it is square. The problem is, you need to think about the live edge and how it curves. Because that wood might be 20 inches wide on this end, but where it tapers down, it might only be 18 inches wide. So you cannot square something off that's not square. Do you understand? And I hope that makes a lot of sense. But I think this is going to be a beautiful image, y'all. Okay? And this is going to be the first one out of 3 that we're going to do on this coffee table. Now, I hope you guys take this adventure with me. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you take something from this. I'm trying to help you guys out. So any of you that's interested in doing this stuff, you could take some of the advice that I'm giving to you and help build on that, for your own projects, for your own things like that. I am by no means, let me tell you this one more time. I am by no means a master wood burner, a master craftsman, I might be a masturbator. I don't know. But the point is, I want you all to understand this, okay? Take your time if you're doing this stuff, okay? Do not rush it, because anytime you rush something like this, you will fuck it up. I'm just telling you right now. I'm being straight honest with you, and this is by my own experience for 28 freaking years, okay? I'm not a dumbass that's just done it for a year or two, okay? I'm a dumbass who's done it for 28. It's a big difference. The point is, this is why I'm doing this video, to help anybody out there that might not understand certain concepts or processes on how you do this stuff. Okay? And this is for all of my people out there. Trading Post family or not. Anybody that wants to watch this. I really, truly hope you guys do enjoy this video. I know it's a lot. It's going to probably be in several parts because this is an entire process. Just burning the side of this took time. All right. And you've seen it in the prior video that I made. All right. That was just doing the burning of it. All right. But the point is, I want you to understand this. If you're going to try to attempt to do anything like this, with any kind of detail like this, you damn well better have patience. I can assure you that. If you have no patience whatsoever, and you know that, I'm just going to tell you, don't even do it. I'm just going to tell you, don't do it. Because if you don't have patience, you're going to rip this damn page off the table, probably beat the table with a hammer or cut it with a chainsaw. Because that's what impatience does for you. It'll ruin everything. Don't do that. Don't be that way. Breathe in, breathe out if you get frustrated, okay? Take your time. Everybody screws up. But I can assure you, before you attempt to do a project like this, I highly recommend you get a scrap piece of wood, okay? Get a scrap piece of wood. Whatever size, I don't give a shit, plywood, whatever. And then what you do is you take whatever mock image you want, make a copy of the image you're going to wood burn, and then do this whole process on that scrap piece of wood. Go through it. I know it's going to take time. It's laborious. It is what it is. But you can't do it any other way. So you go ahead and you do that whole process on that scrap piece of wood, right? To test your skill and see how well you can transfer the image from the artwork through the carbon paper to the wood. Test it out. You'll get a feel for how hard it is. But I do want you to understand this. If you're going to put the artwork, let's just say on a piece of cedar wood or a piece of pine, okay? You sure as hell don't want to take a piece of plywood or something that's not the same type of wood and try to test it on it, because it's not going to be the same reaction. Different woods have different reactions. Understand this. You have hardwoods, you have softwoods, okay? So there's differences. Softwoods are going to burn quicker, easier. All right, it's going to be effortless. Whenever it comes to hardwoods and you're burning in the hardwoods are going to take longer. It's going to take more effort. So you'll learn that as you go, but that's a whole other story for a whole other time. I'm just trying to open you up to that understanding. All right? If you got cypress, you got cedar, you got I don't know anybody that has wood burned sumac, but God only knows. I'm sure there's some asshole out there that done it. And God bless him for doing it, because I'm allergic as shit to that. There is locust, or not, God damn it. I'm drawing a blank right now, y'all. There's different types of woods, okay? We all know there's weeping willow, there's pine trees, there's, Eucalyptus. That's what I was trying to say. Eucalyptus. You got cypress. You got cedar. You got red pine. You got white pine. You got all kind of bullshit. Okay, we can get into all kind of different types of woods, and we can discuss them all if you want. I don't give a shit. But that's going to be another episode. I don't want to drag this out any longer than it is. My whole point is you have hardwoods and you have softwood. There's differences in them whenever you go to burn them. So you have to keep that in mind depending on what you're burning. So that way you have an expectation like, oh shit, this is a hardwood. It's going to take longer to burn. So instead of an hour-long artwork that I'm trying to burn, it's going to take me 2 hours. It'll double it up. Just for an instance, okay? It doesn't mean that's what it's going to take, but it might only be a half an hour longer. It might only be 20 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes longer. It just depends on how hard the wood is, how much of a difference, and how well you know and have learned your wood burner and how to keep the heat steady. Okay? You have to keep the heat steady. Okay? Especially, let's just, for instance, look at the outline on the bear, okay? The leg. The outline of the legs going up and around and all that shit, coming up through the body, his arms and all that bullshit. Okay? You want to keep the heat steady. That is the main outline of the animal, right? Same as this shit right here, where the mountain is. That damn thing went way out of focus. I don't know why. Anyways, the main outline of the mountains, okay? Or for instance, the freaking pine trees in the background, right? You want those main outlines to be nice and steady with the heat. You don't want it to jump up and down. Now, there are exceptions, okay? And this is nothing to do with the person that's wood burning, because there are plenty of exceptions, because there's a lot going in to wood burning. For instance, I'm going to show you. You see these knots on this table right here? Okay? Those are going to be harder to burn through than any of this wood right here. You understand? Okay? So, meaning these are going to be harder to burn through than this. So that means the image is going to be affected if the image is over top of these knots. Let's just say the image goes over these two knots and hits that knot too. But it's also down here in the normal shit. If I put my wood burner on that and I start burning on it, all right, and I'm tracing the image, blah, 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 right? I get up to the knot, guess what? It's not going to look the same on the knot as it's going to look on here. It's going to be lighter colored. You're going to have sap that's seeping up out of there, bubbling and probably boiling, most likely, which it usually does. Okay? But don't worry about that. That's part of the process, because that's natural. You can't do anything other than that. This is a knot. It's there. It ain't going anywhere. So if you put your image over top of knots, you're just going to give yourself some more problematic issues. So this is my recommendation to you guys as far as knots go. If there is knots on your wood, try to position your image, your artwork, in a place where it has minimal knots, minimal problems, or rough surface. Okay? You want the most smoothest surface you can have, as best you can get. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to be smooth enough to where you can actually wood burn this and not sit there and go like you're going over bumps and shit. You know, like these wood grains. If these wood grains was like bumps and shit like that, like speed bumps, the hell with that. This image isn't going to come out right. It's going to go, it's going to be skipping. Okay? It's going to look like a joke. So you do not want, especially with a finely detailed artwork, you do not want to do that shit with a very bumpy, grain on a wood. That's why we sanded this shit down before we did anything like burn the edges and all that shit. Okay? We're doing it in a process. We're doing it in steps, and there's a reason why. Okay? But I want you all to understand this. We're going to go ahead and do this. The next part, I'll show you what it looks like after I get done tracing it. I'm going to take a picture of it. I'll put it on that episode. And then I'm going to, maybe I'll try to video while I'm actually burning the image in. So we'll go ahead and see how that works out. You know what I mean? I don't know. But right now, it's literally the next day, early in the morning. It's late. I'm really freaking wore out. I'm tired. But I'm going to try and pull some more out of the woodwork, right? So to speak. And we'll see. Maybe I'll get some pictures of the image and stuff after I transfer it. And then maybe I'll do some more video on me actually wood burning if I decide to do it tonight. Which I don't know if that's going to happen. But as long as I get it transferred over, we're good. We're kosher. We're golden, pony boy. You know what I'm saying? So, y'all hang tight. We'll get to you on the next one, right? You have a good one. All right, everybody. We're going to go ahead and unveil this here and see how it turned out. All right. And this is only doing the tracing of it. This isn't even starting to do the wood burning. So, let's take a look, y'all. Okay. Looks like it transferred pretty nicely, huh? Yeah. Now remember, you might have to go over it 2 or 3 times before you can make it dark enough. You know what I mean? Yeah. Seems to me everything transferred pretty good. I think maybe they might be a little bit light. Maybe I can go back over them. See, that's why you always take one side off, flip it over, and then pull it back. Tape it back down. Make sure it's nice and flat when you tape it back down so you don't have a double image. But, yeah, I think it's turned out good. Then we can start wood burning it. Once you're satisfied with how it transferred over and everything looks good, then you can get your wood burner and start wood burning. And basically, you're going to do the same thing over. Pretty much, in essence. All right. That's that for now. That's that for now. Till the next one here, or till we get the next process going, okay? I'll talk to you then. All right, everybody, we're starting to do the burning of the image, okay? We got, obviously, on the last one, you see we got the image laid out, right? Now all you got to do is basically just trace it with the wood burner, right? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to try and video this while I'm burning, but I've never done that before, so it's going to be a little bit different, a little difficult, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, you can get different kind of wood burners and things like that. See, mine, let me set this back down for a second. I just wanted to show you. My wood burner is a walnut hollow wood burner. Okay, it's got the adjustable heat on it. And you have the different tips. You got these little rod tips, whatever you want to call them. You get a little gripper to grab a hold of the plugs and pull them out. But see, you got different types. You got this here. You got this one here. You got one of them. See, it's just like a doubled over wire. This one here has a little actual metal ball at the end of the tip. You see that? See? And they're all used for different circumstances, different things that you're trying to do. This one here is for like shading and stuff, okay? It's got the little like spade head or whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it a spade head. I don't know if there's a precise name for them or not, but that's just what I'm going to call it. Anyhow, if you look at this, you can see how nice and dark that is. See, I got my settings set to 6. Okay, so it's burning it nice and dark. Okay, you can always turn it down. You don't have to go that high. I just want to try and make sure it gets in there pretty good, pretty nice, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. So we'll go ahead and do this, and we're going to see what we got going on here. Trying to figure out what in the world I'm doing here, where I'm going to next. Okay. And if you hold it too long, you'll see it burns a little bit too much more than you think. Okay. But yeah, I mean, you can turn it down, especially with the finer detail stuff. I will say that a lot of the finer detail, you might want to turn it down. You don't want to be too damn high on there because you're going to jack your shit up. And I've done it one too many times. Trust me, I know. I've been there, done it. Still do on occasions. So, but this is part of it, okay? I just want to show you some of the beginning of it, just to let you know. And then we'll go ahead and catch back up with you here as soon as I'm getting close to it, or I have about, if I get to about a quarter of the way, I'll do another video, show you what it looks like there, maybe halfway, and then the full thing, okay? All right, you guys, bye. Hey, everybody, look at my update for my wood burning. Check it out. See what you think about that. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Yes, indeed. Give you another update here soon. All right, you guys. Have a good one. All right, everybody. We're going to go ahead and work on the last of this. We're going to go ahead and burn it up. Show you guys what it looks like finished up. It's about time, right? What do you think? All right. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit, and then we'll stop and pause, and I'll do some video on it, okay? All right, everybody. Here's a finished product. What do you think? I don't know. I may touch up a little bit, but overall, it looks pretty good, I think. Now remember, you guys, have a little fan and blow it the other way whenever you're wood burning. That way you don't have the smoke going into your lungs. You don't have to worry about any. First of all, some people, you might have treated lumber and you don't even know it. You might have something that has God only knows what on it, depending on what kind of wood you're working with. You don't want to do that and not have a fan there, because whatever chemicals, whatever stain, whatever clear coat or whatever you're dealing with, it's going to come up and it will go into your lungs. So take a little fan like that. Go out to the dollar store, buy one for $6 or whatever it is, and plug it in and have it blow the opposite way so it pulls the smoke away from you. That way you're not choking, you're not getting sick, and you're not suffering because you want to do a little bit of artwork. But anyways, what do you guys think? Here's the actual artwork. What do you think? That's the artwork. There's the wood burning. What do you think about that? I think it turned out pretty daggone good, if you ask me. But that's how you do wood transferences, okay? And honestly, you can do it in different ways. I've done this for years, so I've done. If you feel artistic and you want to hand draw the stuff, by all means, hand draw it. You're only limiting yourself, you know what I mean, by your ability. So if you want to hand draw it on the wood, and then you wood burn. It's that simple. That's the only difference. Okay? It's a longer process, but it does work out. It's the same thing. Now, people that want to mass produce some stuff, do you an art piece or something like that. You draw your art piece, make a couple copies, do you some transferences on the wood, and you want to shoot out a couple chairs or a couple tables or a coffee table, whatever, by all means go ahead and do that. But I will say this, any copywritten images, any of them, you by law have one right. You have a right to make one of them, and that's for personal use, and you will get away with that. Look it up, double check me, fact check me all you want, okay? But that's the reality of it. Don't get yourself caught with your pants down, okay? Don't be making 3, 4, 5 copies of a Disney artwork or something like that, and you start mass producing it, because you're gonna you get caught, you're in deep shit. That's that simple. But anyways, this is the first image we're doing on the coffee table, y'all. All right, it's done. It's good. I think it looks good. I may touch it up. That's still neither here nor there. But this is the finished product, as far as we know. Okay. You guys have a good one.